Hey, 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 welcome back, everybody, to Visionary Wellness Wednesdays, where we are building better business culture by treating our companies like the powerful living organism that it is. And of course, we're here to take care of you too, right? So if you're just tuning in, go back if you missed the previous episodes where we started with the face of the business, which is our identity. Okay, we explored the stomach of your business, which is really like our resources, and now we're going to move to the next vital function. Today we are talking about the lungs and the voice, which is about the communication system of your business. Okay, so I want us to think about something for a second. Our physical bodies can be physically healthy and nourished with all these great nutrients and vitamins and minerals. But if our bodies cannot breathe, our bodies will fail. It will shut down. We will lose consciousness. Am I right? Am I right? Okay. So the same is true for your company, right? If your message can't breathe, your revenue will suffocate. So, what does this look like? If you are putting in work, right, but your visibility is low, or maybe your conversion is poor, or more crucially, the team that you're operating within or your team is operating in confusion, it's most likely because your business is taking a lot of shallow breaths. So, in a lot of my wellness work, it's interesting the transition from teaching people chest breathing, which is what we've been used to out of survival and just a hustle and bustle, versus the belly breathing, right? Total different experience. So, again, the question today is simple. I want you to think about, is your business whispering or is it shouting? Is it whispering a prayer or is it shouting a prophecy, both internally and externally? So again, everyone, if you're new here, welcome. I am Charita Raél, the Vizion Catalyst, where I blend our personal wellness and strategic execution to help you achieve your purpose-filled path to prosperity. So, today we're going to make sure that your message is clear enough to command the attention that it deserves. Okay, fam? So, let's get right into it. The lungs, like our real live lungs, give our body the capacity to live, right? To enjoy every day, because we're able to wake up, we're able to breathe. Breath is just so important to life. I'm sure you can imagine. So it gives us this capacity to live and project. So take notice, right? When you're stressed, your breath becomes shallow, right? But when you're operating in abundance, your breath is more slow and calm and deep. And so your business messaging is the same way. When you operate from scarcity and fear, your business will take shallow breaths. So, what does that look like? It looks like using rushed, desperate language outwardly, which creates messages that feel more reactive instead of intentional, right? So maybe because we're noticing what the market is doing, maybe we're seeing the latest fads and the latest trends because we're in a panic, maybe to stay relevant or enter into a market that we want to introduce ourselves to. We just rush out there with language that may not even be aligned with the core essence of your business and its products and services, okay? So again, we don't want reactive messaging. We want intentional messaging, okay? Another example is, sometimes in real life, think about the times that you hold your breath. Sometimes we hold our breaths when we're in a state of fear, right? And sometimes it's the fear of being visible. And your most powerful message will die, right? If we are operating out of fear because we're holding the breath. So I want you to explore what fears you may have that is hindering you from communicating that powerful message that you have out into the world, out into the market that needs your products and services. Now, what does this look like internally, right? Internally, this could look like rushing instructions or rushing projects and initiatives, assuming that your team knows what you know, which creates gaps and redundancy, right? And also a lot of room of confusion. And so, what we can't afford to do is let our business choke on that confusion. So, I want us to think about junk food, right, versus holistic, organic, healthy food. Junk food messaging, which comes from that place of shallow breathing and fear and scarcity, is just noise, right? It's not nourishment at all. And while it may make you feel busy, it doesn't really give life to the customer or your bank account, right? Because again, think about how we're operating. Think about the space that we're creating our messaging from. So here's a principle I really want you to hone in on. Shallow breathing limits your capacity to perform, like even in real life, right? Shallow breathing it limits that capacity to speak and even to run a marathon. I don't know those of us who may have been in sports or ran track or just maybe it's how you exercise, right? Just exercising on a daily basis. You will notice that your capacity to exercise, to be active is different based on how you breathe, right? So when we're talking about our business is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And if you cannot take full deep breaths of clarity, you will eventually collapse. Your business will eventually collapse. So the quality of your business's voice is directly tied to the depths of its purpose. Okay. And so when your business speaks clearly, it speaks with more authority. And authority, my friend, is the currency of the visionary. Okay. It's a very important currency of the visionary. And so I want us to talk about, excuse me, the duality of communication, the inner and outer flow. So there's two parts of communication, the outer voice to the market and then the inner dialogue within the team. Now, some of you may be solopreneurs, but I am sure you want your business to grow outside of you. I'm sure you want to be able to take a 30-day vacation or, just move on to other things without worrying about if the business you've already created is going to collapse or not, right? So again, we have the outer voice to the market and then the inner voice, the inner dialogue to your team. But most, but both of them, excuse me, have to operate. They have to be in synchronicity with each other. They both have to be on a synchronized rhythm. Again, the outer voice to the market and then the inner dialogue with your team. And of course, even within yourself. So this is where we're going to connect back to the visionary archetypes real quick, right? This is the soul DNA from season one. And if you have not checked out that season, please go do that. Okay. So let's talk about the outer voice, the marketing, the messaging, and the storytelling. So when we're talking about communication and we're talking about the breath, which I love just taking that deep breath in through the nose, filling up the belly and out through the mouth, exhaling through the mouth, and the belly will contract, right? So the marketing is the inhale. I want you to think of the marketing as the strategic capacity to bring in life to your business. I'm talking about bringing in the attention that your business needs to create leads, right? And the attention that is communicating your focused interest, your specialty, right? This is an archetypal link to the entrepreneurial energetic template. And again, I want you to watch those videos, not only in season one, but also the bioenergetic wellness videos, so you can start to understand the essence of these different archetypal energies, but also the energetic templates that they reside within, so you can understand how this applies to you as a visionary. All right. So again, the marketing, which is the inhale, is the strategic. We're not just throwing things out there. We're just not casting a net, hoping something will land. This is a strategic capacity to bring in life, a strategic roadmap, a strategic formula to bring in life. Again, this is the attention, just being noticed, the leads, right? And again, focused interest. Now, the second part, let's talk about the messaging. This is the exhale, the voice, okay? And this is what you actually say. And a lot of the examples that I hear is that it must be so simple, so clear that a 12-year-old could understand the value of what you bring. So when we're using just certain jargon that we think is trendy or whatever, jargon can sometimes confuse people, whereas clarity compels people. And this archetypal link is to the thought leader. This is the beautiful ability to take these complex or super creative ideas and communicate it in a way it's simple to understand. All right. So again, we have marketing, which is the inhale. Okay. This is the messaging, right? Which is what is the clear message we want our team and our market to understand. And then, my friend, there's storytelling. Now, this is the rhythm. Okay. This is how you connect the what you do to the why you do it. And this is going to build trust and community. And this particular archetypal link is associated with the creative and cultural visionary. So already we're seeing how not only are these archetypal energies within you important to understand, but also how we're going to build our team, right? The necessary skills, talents, and energetic templates and the contributions that it takes to really make a thriving, sustainable, long-lasting business, a very impactful business. All right. So again, the message, the marketing is the inhale, the messaging is the exhale, the voice, and the storytelling is all about the rhythm. All right. So please remember that formula. Now, I want to go to the inner dialogue, right? And I want you to think of the inner dialogue as the nervous system of your business and even you, right? When we talk about internal dialogue, how we talk to ourselves also affects how we think about ourselves. And I want you to think about it the same way, the internal dialogue within your business. So the internal dialogue is all about the speed and clarity, right, with which instructions and informations move within your organism. And this is from the CEO, which is kind of like the brains of the business, to the team, which is like the limbs. And so if the dialogue is sluggish, if the dialogue is unclear, if the dialogue is based on assumption, this business will operate in confusion and redundancy. And confusion, my friends, is very expensive. And so the goal of internal communications is not just transmissions of orders, but effective reception and execution. I want to say this again. If the dialogue in the internal communication of your company is sluggish, unclear, or based on assumption, the business will operate in confusion and redundancy, right? Or just constant turnover, okay? Confusion is very expensive. And so the goal of internal communications is not just transmission of orders and directives and objectives, but it's also effective reception and execution, okay? So, to be very clear, many of our businesses, many of us, we think that we're paid for our products. Not necessarily. We are paid for the clarity of your conviction delivered through the powerful alignment of your inner and outer voice. I want to say this again. You are not paid for your products. You are paid for the clarity of your conviction delivered through the powerful alignment of your inner and outer voice. Okay. So, I want us to do a quick amplification check. All right. The problem for most is that the business is whispering when it needs to be shouting a prophecy. And so the solution is this amplification check that we're going to get into. I want you to think of this as a quick four-part assessment to maximize your voice and fill your lungs to the fullest capacity. I want to give an example, and this is so beautiful. So there are certain practices where you do practice the belly breathing, but when we talk about maximizing the voice and the lungs, filling your lungs to its fullest capacity, there are also certain practices where we're breathing deep enough to fill up all eight chambers of the lungs. That way, whatever modality or practices that we're getting into, the body will receive it so much more in depth, so much more potent. You know, the experience is way different not versus entering into it with shallow breathing or not filling up the eight chambers of the lungs. But we'll get into that in one of our retreats. Okay. So the four-part assessment to maximize your voice and fill your lungs to their full capacity. So the four parts, and we'll get into each of them: clarity, consistency, conversion, and then the feedback loop. All right, so let's first start with clarity, which is all about your core message. So when we think about the clarity, the core message, can a stranger instantly repeat your mission and your primary value proposition in one sentence? Yes or no? And again, as you're going through these, there's no right or wrong answer. It's all about let's just do a check to see where we are. So again, your core message: can a stranger repeat your mission and your primary value proposition in one sentence? Now, if you have to give them about like 5 to 10 bullet points, you don't have a message, you have a monologue. Okay. Clarity precedes prosperity. Clarity precedes prosperity. And ambiguity is the enemy of abundance. Okay. You can make up your own mantra, but these are some of mine that I like to share. Clarity precedes prosperity. I don't care if you're talking to a person, you talking to your higher power, the universe. Nobody's going to know how to respond if they're not clear on what you offer, or clear on what, or if you're not clear on what you need, if you're not clear on what your values are, what your standards are, you know, whatever prosperity and abundance and receiving looks like for you, clarity will always precede that. Okay. So again, clarity precedes prosperity. Ambiguity is the enemy of abundance. And again, if someone is not able to repeat your message and your mission, as well as your proposition in a sentence, or just in their own way to be clear about it, that may be a bit of an issue, okay? And check and see how you are communicating your core message. Again, we want a message, not a monologue, all right? So number two, consistency. This is inner and outer. So when we talk about consistency, and what we don't want to do is be out here contradicting ourselves, okay? That's what we don't want to do. Again, we're building a better business culture. It may have worked before, but where we're going, it's not going to work anymore. So, consistency, inner and outer. Are you saying the same core message across your website, social media, and sales conversions? All this is external. And are you giving the same consistent instructions across all of your team channels and protocols? This is internal, okay? So, inconsistent instruction will lead to a team that feels fragmented. And then the output will look fragmented as well. Okay. Inconsistent instruction to a team leads to fragmented output. So we want to make sure that we have consistency on our inner body of not only just ourselves as human beings, but our business, and also the outer. Okay. Number three, conversion, which is all about the command, right? Does your external message actually compel action? And what action does it compel? And it's up to you to decide what that is, right? So a clear message is a call, it's not a request. So if your messaging isn't converting, it's not because you need a better product all the time. It's pretty much because you need a clearer command based on your conviction, right? Clarity really communicates conviction. It it communicates confidence in your product and what you're here to do, and the result, the transformation that you're going to give people, that they'll experience from your product or service. Okay. So again, so far we have clarity, the core message. We have consistency, which is the inner and outer messaging. We have conversion, which is all about the command, and then the feedback loop, the circulation. Okay. So this is the internal check that protects your business from unnecessary pain. The feedback loop is super important. Okay. A healthy body listens to pain points. So I don't know about you all, but I do listen to my body. Sometimes people say, no matter what your body says, do the thing anyway. That may work for some people. See where you are in it, right? But a healthy body will listen to pain points. So, are your team systems set up to receive clear, honest feedback from the field, the customers, and from the team itself, operations? So if you're only transmitting orders and never receiving feedback, your internal nervous system will be broken, okay? And costly mistakes will circulate until the whole system fails. It's only a matter of time. I want to really repeat this again, okay? I strongly encourage us to make sure our team systems are set up clear or set up clearly, right? And in integrity to receive honest feedback from the customers and from your team itself, themselves, right? The operations. Because again, these have to be consistent with each other. They have to be in sync with each other. They have to operate off the same rhythm. And so, if you are only transmitting orders and again, never taking in the feedback of the customers or your team, and most importantly, well, I don't want to say most importantly, but just as important, your team, because the team is what's helping the operations of your business outside of you. The team, the outside operations outside of you is what is going to help you be able to take that 30-day vacation and still come back and your business is thriving. So again, if the internal nervous system is broken, the costly mistakes will circulate until it affects the whole system. And we don't want that to happen. Okay. So you're just like you do, right? Your business has a divine right to speak its purpose. And I'm really going to encourage us to stop whispering. Okay, stop whispering and start projecting the promise of your purpose. All right, this is super important, family. So, if you don't take anything away from today's lesson, I just want you to remember that your business can only thrive when it speaks its truth. Your voice is your authority, and your message is the air that fuels the financial capacity. So, if your business is struggling to be heard or to execute right now, you have one simple choice: deepen the breath. That's it. Simplify the message, both to the market and to your team, and make sure you speak with conviction, right? So, again, y'all, this has been Wealth and Wellness Wednesday, Visionary Wellness Wednesday. I rename it almost every week, season two. And and if this message has moved you, I want you to grab your business body worksheet that you have in the first session and assess your communication area. Okay. Again, this is house number three, area number three, to see where your business needs deeper breath. Okay. Just check it out. Be honest with yourself. See how the external communications are flowing as well as the results from it. And then see how your internal communications are flowing as well as the results from it as well. Okay. So I want you all to have a really, really, really great day. Again, I am Charita Raél, the Vizion Catalyst, where we build a life of purpose and we out here letting our voices lead the way. All right. So I'll see y'all next week. Peace, love, and prosperity.